Most cosmic adventures begin with portals, prophecies, or unexpected celestial visitors. But Chapter 35 of The Wizard's Tale began with something far stranger. An airline ticket to post-Soviet Russia, 1993. At the time, every intelligence agency on Earth seemed to be holding its breath, and from the Wizard's later understanding, several not of Earth were watching too. But to him, it was just another mission in the multiverse of commerce. Checkmark telecommunications gear, checkmark GPS units still warm from Cold War innovation, checkmark satellite links, checkmark cargo ships full of sugar, checkmark demilitarized aircraft, and a few space communication relics from the Gorizont constellation. The Wizard, blending his diplomatic suit with the spark of cosmic mischief, stepped into St. Petersburg, and instantly felt as though he had walked into a living Tartarian cathedral. The buildings were too ornate, too grand, too ancient feeling to have been recently built, they hummed. Somewhere beneath the streets, the Wizard swore he felt the vibration of a forgotten empire, an echo of star maps carved in stone. The aurora and the ghost of revolutions passed when he beheld the aurora, the cruiser said to have fired the starting shot of the revolution. The Wizard felt timelines overlap for a moment. A ship is never just a ship. A ship stores memories. And that one had plenty. But he didn't have time to linger long. Because suddenly, the KGB, CIA, FSB, NSA, and three letters he'd never heard, every corridor he walked down contained at least one man in a trench coat pretending to examine a newspaper. Every cafe contained two more pretending not to listen. And every time the Wizard opened his briefcase, someone materialized to borrow a napkin. The Wizard later joked, it wasn't a business trip, it was a convention of the alphabet. They were all looking for the same thing: weapons of mass destruction rumored to be slipping through the cracks. The Wizard looked. He found none. Thank God. The world didn't need that timeline. But what he did find was weirder. Night vision goggles, pig Latin diplomacy, and the confused Russians inside a factory no American had entered before. The Wizard discovered early-gen night vision equipment, rugged and effective. The Russians, stoic as stone bears, claimed, "We do not understand English." But the Wizard and his partner did need to haggle. So they switched to pig Latin. At way o day o u ye ink they e way old shay offer ye, the Russians stared at them as though they were summoning an eldritch code. One engineer whispered, "They speak exotic dialect." The Wizard smiled. Pig Latin had defeated the Iron Curtain. Moscow, Sheremetyevo, and the man with the diplomatic passport in Moscow. At Sheremetyevo Airport, reality took a sharp turn into the surreal. The Wizard met a man named Leo Wanta, traveling on a German diplomatic passport and carrying an air of secrets older than the Soviet Union itself. At the time, the Wizard only sensed that Wanta was important. Later he would learn. Checkmark Wanta was tasked with recovering enormous hidden funds, checkmark possibly tied to World War II Lend-Lease deals, checkmark possibly tied to intelligence operations, checkmark possibly tied to the economic future of the United States, and possibly tied to timelines. Rumors said he was meant to bring back a financial tide large enough to rebuild America's infrastructure, including high-speed trains. Rumors also said other hands snatched those funds away. Rumors swirled like cosmic wind. The Wizard didn't judge the truth, he just remembered the man's eyes. Eyes of someone burdened with knowledge no human was ever meant to hold. The Baltic Fleet feud, the tank fire, and the ruble collapsed before arriving. The Wizard learned about the tank fire near the Russian parliament, a chaotic aftershock of political tremors from a collapsing giant. And by the time he had reached St. Petersburg, Russia and Ukraine were arguing over the Baltic Fleet like two nations dividing an inheritance neither fully trusted the other to keep. Then came President Clinton's "gold for nukes" proposition. A brilliant idea. And yet, something happened. Too many fingers in too many pots. Nuclear devices were indeed captured and secured from world circulation. Praise God. But the ruble, it evaporated. Like a currency caught in a whirlwind of temporal instability. All of the wizard's business deals, solid one moment, turned into smoke the next. He later said, in Russia, 1993, money didn't crash, it retired. The goodwill games and the factories of a nation too easily underestimated. The wizard also found himself entangled in preparations for the goodwill games. Doors opened for him, doors that no American had stepped through in decades. He saw factories most outsiders believed were primitive. He discovered, the Russians were not behind. Checkmark, they were not weak. They were not technologically impoverished. They were resource-rich, and incredibly clever. Where embargo blocked them from buying certain tech, they simply bought it somewhere else. Survival breeds innovation. The wizard admired them deeply for that. The lesson of 1993 as he sat in reflection, years later in Chapter 35's Cosmic Lecture Hall, the wizard realized something profound. We were told Russia was a sleeping bear. But she was awake the whole time. Watching. Learning. And carrying more stars in her pocket than we ever imagined. In a universe where timelines cross and intelligence agencies multiply like mushrooms after rain, the wizard learned the most powerful truth. Not every adventure needs a portal to be miraculous. Sometimes all it needs is a passport. Global Robotics Corporation Interplanetary Trading Company Robert Coley Bob Coley at Outlook.com GlobalRoboticsCorp.com